Hello and welcome everyone, my name's Capcan and this is going to be a build guide with a showcase for a Summon Raging Spirit Poison version, Necromancer. This is one of the most reliable and powerful builds for summoners in general for probably almost a year now, maybe a bit more, which utilizes some unique items that make your Summon Raging Spirits poison and then inflict Wither, deal tons of chaos damage, and they are quite easy to get on with. They are quite cheap, of course, if you were to compare it to some other builds with similar damage in output, and they are very, very tanky. These types of builds can do most of those things, and the best thing with Summon Raging Spirits or in general summons that are not permanent is that whenever you summon them, minions created recently cannot be damaged, which is one of the crucial parts why these types of builds are really shining. When the Spectre ones can be Spectre ones or other permanent minions can be quite sketchy, and you need to get more defenses for them. For SRS, you don't really need to focus on that, which makes your life way easier, and especially you can feel it after they've changed all the minions itemization and stuff quite a few patches ago. So yeah, this build has something close to 28 or 28 million DPS on Pinnacle bosses. You can see here in footage that different bosses are not really a problem for this build, and you can be sure that Summon Raging Spirit is a very comfortable build for map clearing, because it has the minions themselves have very high speed and they clear everything. They are super aggressive, so it's not like you need any additional stuff for them to work properly and clear fast. Okay, so let's go to the build itself. Let's check the talent tree in POB, then go for skills and items and stuff like that. So first and foremost, we want many jewel sockets, because they are essential to how our SRS are gonna poison enemies. After that, we are going for life, of course. Some block chance is always pretty good. Minion damage, minion skill, minion duration or skill effect duration, like in this particular case. So we are using Eldritch Battery. We are utilizing this keynote. We do not have any spare mana because we are reserving, of course, for all our auras and stuff, and that's why we're gonna use Eldritch Battery. Our energy shield will be our spending resource for all the skill costs, active skill costs. Then after that, we are going for mana reservation efficiency and aura effect, spell suppression, some increases to life, and energy shield is pretty cool as well. We are going for more minion type nodes. We are going for some additional spell block as well. Again, more aura, mana reservation efficiency, and aura effect. Some additional minion stuff, again more minion stuff, a little bit of armor, a little bit of additional maximum life, again block, and then we are going for the jewels. So probably, yeah, now we've covered all the regular talents. Let's look up the jewels that we're using. The Green Nightmare will give us just a bunch of chance to suppress spell damage with how this all works. Here we do have some tattoos that give us elemental resistances, and this one makes passive granting cold res or all elemental res in radius also grant chance to spell suppress at 70% of its value. As you can see here, we do have cap for spell suppress chance, and without glancing blows we do have very high almost cap block chance and cap spell block chance. Yeah, now in terms of other jewels, we are going to be utilizing a bunch of Ghastly Eye jewels, because they can roll minions have a percentage chance to poison enemies on hit, and they can get some additional flat chaos damage to our minions as well, which can be good. But the main thing here is chance to poison enemies on hit. This is the yeah, it's basically how your build is gonna work. Without it, you can't really do that much damage. So again, more Ghastly Eye jewels. And we are using as well Amanamu's Gaze. Minions have percentage to damage over time multiplier per ghastly jewel, affecting you up to a maximum of 30%. So 5 of ghastly jewels, and you're fine with this jewel. You're gonna be at its maximum effect. Yeah, and that's basically it when it comes to the jewels. The cluster ones. Yeah, so probably should have mentioned that as well. The cluster one gives us Call to the Slaughter, which is just for minions created recently a bunch of additional movement speed, attack speed, and damage. Otherwise, it's a regular minion deal increase damage. Here's our Amanamu's Gaze, and the medium jewel is one of the most important parts of this build with Blessed Rebirth. Minions created recently cannot be damaged. This is one of the main talents that you need. Otherwise, this build will feel way more clunky because your SRSs are gonna die way more from AoE and stuff, and this way it just makes them invulnerable for the first seconds of their life. Then just some other talents. And again, the regular ghastly jewel. Again, and as you can see here, with corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, which is definitely very good, but you can live without it if you can't really get it. Okay, now for our skills. Our main 6 link is gonna be 7 link, pseudo 7 link, so we are using the Covenant. The Covenant gives us level 29 added chaos damage, which is very, very handy for our poison damage output. Then we are using Summon Raging Spirit, minion damage, multi-strike, unbound ailments, void manipulation, and unleash. Unleash for us to basically spawn multiple of SRSs at once, multi-strike for them to hit fast, and minion damage it's just a universally good damage multiplier plus 1 to level as Awakened one version, and we do have Awakened versions of Unbound Ailments and Void Manipulation, but they are not necessary. They just ramp your damage even more. Yeah, and after that we are multiplying our chaos damage in output and ailment damage, which is basically anyways a poison. Okay, now let's go for the other things. Arcanist Brand is going to be automating our Curse, our Desecrate, which is Corpse Spawn, and Bone Offering, which gives us and our minions block chance and spell block chance. Then with our other sockets, we are going to be using Tempest Shield, again for more spell block chance and for immunity to shock. We are using Feeding Frenzy with Summon Stone Golem, which is going to be, it's going to be procced quite easily by Stone Golem. Stone Golem gives us a bit of additional life regen. And we are using Haste with both Vile Haste versions. So we are using regular one, we are reserving our mana, and whenever we get stuck, we stuck our souls, then we can pop off with Vile Haste and give our summons additional speed and attack speed. Yeah, and Feeding Frenzy is a very good, powerful damage buff for our minions as well. Now, in our first weapon, which is Severed in Sleep, it grants us level 25 Envy skill, which is an aura for our minions to deal more chaos damage, additional chaos damage. And this skill in this weapon can be supported by any support jewels that you are getting in there, and Divine Blessing with Generosity will make your Envy an active ability that gives you aura for like some 5-10, probably closer to 10 seconds. Divine Blessing is the thing that makes you being able to do that, and Generosity just gives way more power of this aura to the other to someone who's not you, who utilizes this aura. So basically the aura doesn't work on you, but it works way better on the summons, and you don't really need this aura because you don't deal this damage. And then we are using as well Precision. Our summons can utilize the additional accuracy rating as well, and the is just the bonus from our Commander of Darkness. Auras from your skills grant increased attack speed and cast speed, so basically for each aura you give them additional attack speed, which is pretty good. And again, it can be used it can be used with generosity or just without it, depends on how much spare mana do you have, but it will be pretty good bonus. After that, we are using a determination. It is in our ring, so basically we just need an additional socket. Determination will give us a bunch of armor. It's one of our main defensive layers against physical damage taken. Then we are using Animate Guardian, and we're going with raise specters with mid shield and minion life so that they don't die, and they protect you and they taunt enemies and stuff like that, but basically for them to not die. With our specters, as you can see here, you can look at it all in your POB that is going to be in description of the video. We do use Arena Master and Carnage Chieftain. They both give a significant damage buff to our SRSs. And that's basically it. It's in helmet as well. Then we already saw SRSs. Then in second weapon, or basically anywhere where you can put them, shield charge, vitality, and frost blink. Frost blink for blinks for dodging, shield charge for just passing through the maps faster. Vitality gives you additional again regeneration, and it gives you additional aura that will be applied on your summons. Bone armor is your version of molten shell or something like that, so it's a guard skill that you can press, and it's a Necromancer specific one. And reckoning we gain from our shield. Okay, then let's go for the items. So Severed in Sleep, we've already saw the envy part, but otherwise it gives our minions have chance to inflict wither on hit, which is a massive damage multiplier for anything that deals chaos damage and poisons. And our enemies are gonna be constantly at full withered stacks, which is massive. And minions have critical strike multiplier per withered debuff, but the main thing here is just the wither itself. Envy are massive, but the wither itself is the thing here. The Surrender, so it's a big armor shield that gives you a pretty good number of health as well, pretty good chance to block, and recover 430 life when you block. So basically, if there are many enemies that deal pretty small amounts of damage, you're gonna be invulnerable to that completely. And this shield is just here to give you this immense amounts of defense. And without the recovery part, otherwise it's just a very solid defensive shield. Then we do with our helmet, as you can see here, its minions have movement speed, so you want your SRS to be faster, of course. A bit of increased energy shield recharge rate can be helpful because, as you can see here, our whenever we're pumping SRS, it is quite energy shield heavy, and you want to have more energy shield recharge rate so that you will always have enough ES to cast your spells and stuff. It can be tricky, but with 1000 or 900 it should be fine with some additional energy shield recharge rate. Otherwise, chance to suppress spell damage, some life regen. You can get as much maximum life as you can possibly squeeze in here. +2 to level of all minion skill gems is more than necessary. You definitely need this buff with this modifier. If you can get at least +1 whenever you're just leveling or you're at way lower budget, it's going to be fine, but strive to get this modifier in here. Then with our body armor, it's the Covenant, main thing, added chaos damage. Otherwise, just give us a bunch of energy shield, which we truly need to have enough, and a bit of additional life. It makes our skills cost life as well. So as you can see here, whenever you're constantly casting your SRS, it will have life cost per second with 500, which may be taxing to your life regen as well. That's why we are trying to get as much life regen as we possibly can. Then with gloves, again, even more spell suppression, some additional minion damage. Otherwise, just life, resistances, Nothing else, nothing special. With our boots, we do have here, we want as much movement speed as well, because your summons are very, very fast. And if you want to clear everything fast, it's gonna depend on your character's movement speed most of the time, and that's why you want to have here as much MS as possible. Otherwise, just resistances and life. It's generic defenses. That's it. With Jinx Juju, we allocate Charisma. Charisma is the talent that gives us just enormous amounts of mana reservation efficiency. It is quite, as you can see here, it uses to golden and opalescent oils. You can get here any armor talents, any other mana reservation efficiency talents, any maximum life talents, any damage, minion damage talents, maybe even something like Ravenous Horde. But basically, this one is very, very good, especially if you want to use as much auras as we use in this build in particular. Otherwise, yeah, just use one less and then get all the currency that you need to anoint the talent. Otherwise, the Jinx Juju itself, what it gives you some attributes, which is cool. Chaos Res, pretty good as well. And then 10% of damage from hits is taken from your Spectre's life before you. This is definitely a very, very powerful additional defensive layer. And increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills is definitely very good for your summons damage, for everything basically, and for your defenses as well. Then with our rings, it's Bone Ring and Unset Ring. Unset Ring because you don't have enough places for you to, it's basically you need this socket. Otherwise, it gives you attributes, it gives some energy shield, which can be useful, but to be honest, if you have 900, probably you are okay already. Yeah, Chaos Res, some damage taken, recouped as life for additional recovery. Recovery is not the strongest part of this build, but we still have Flask, we still have some regen as well, and whenever we're not pumping SRS, we are more than good with our life regen, with amount of block and spell suppress that we have. You should be fine with most encounters. Otherwise, with Bone Ring, we are getting here as much minion movement speed and increased damage as possible. LD Rest can be good for our other summons, as for our utility summons, but SRS themselves, they don't really need it that much. Some additional energy shield, flat one, and Chaos Res and life. Then with our belt, it's Darkness Enthroned and 2 Ghastly Eye Jewels, of course. And with how many jewel sockets we do have on our talent tree, we do need Darkness Enthroned here because it has increased effect of Socketed Abyss Jewels. And basically these 2 jewels give us almost 60% chance to poison enemies on hit. And that, you need it. You need to have it in order to complete your 100% chance to poison enemies with only 3 jewels in other places. And that's why we're taking it. Otherwise, you want to place here the most powerful jewels, ghastly jewels that you have, because it will be increased by 100%. So it's basically going to be doubled in strength. And that's why we do have here flat chaos damage, flat fizz damage, flat chaos damage as well, some strength, especially if you're starved on strength as attribute, which you may be, then you definitely want to get something like this here. And then when it comes to our flasks, it's Divine Life Flask with just basically not instant one, because probably you wouldn't get as much burst damage as more of you need ways to recover your life just throughout the fight. And otherwise grants immunity to bleeding. If you don't have any problems with bleeding, you may get here something against ignite or poison, depends. But we do have pretty high resistance to chaos, which means that poisons shouldn't be as bad for us. And ignites you can with Soul of Aberrath, if you're farming red influenced maps, you want that immunity to burning ground, which means that you'll probably get the reduced duration of ignites, which means that the only dot type of damage, type of ailment that you're afraid of is bleeding. We do have immunity to corrupted blood, especially if you don't have immunity to corrupted blood on your jewels, then definitely get the immunity to bleeding flask, but I guess you understood the point. Silver flask for onslaught, for additional movement speed and cast speed for us. You can see here in mods as well additional cast speed. Rumi's Concoction gives us block chances and armor. Very, very powerful defensive thing here. Quicksilver flask for additional movement speed. And Granite Flask again with increased to armor, and if you are running out of your Rumi's Concoction, you will have another basically you will have another armor flask, and you will have this 56% increase to armor. You can get in here some Jade Flask, but we don't really go too high on evasion rating. You can get we already have cap for spell suppression chance, which means that Quartz Flask will be half good for us. It will only give us phasing, and most of the other ones you don't really need. So if you don't feel the need in second Granite Flask, you may swap it out, but it all depends on how much flask charges you gain, how comfortable you feel when you fight against the bosses, or maybe some other longer fights and stuff like that. So, but basically that's mostly it when it comes to flasks as well. So this is not a tremendously, especially if you were to get out the awakened versions of skill gems, it's not tremendously expensive build by any means. You can definitely play it without getting it too juiced up and easily farm most of the content in the game. The damage of the build is definitely more than overkill for anything like that. You can look up the tattoos. Mostly they are quite basic ones that gives you either attributes or all elemental resistances, because you don't really need intelligence as much, because you already do have more than enough. That's why it's a free points that you can just change with something like increased effect of non-curse aura effects or all attributes or many things like that. So yeah, if you want more content like this, more guides like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel and like the video. I hope you're doing fine and you're having fun. Bye.